The Hong Kong government is facing a backlash from medical experts and parents after launching ambush-style lockdowns and separating parents from young children in a desperate effort to contain a fifth wave of corona infections in the densely populated city-state. CNN's Will Ripley getting us a report from there.
As Hong Kong fights to fend off a possible fifth wave of COVID-19, nowhere is immune. This weekend, hundreds of healthcare workers and police sealed off several upscale neighborhoods, ordering thousands to line up for testing and lock down to wait for results.
It was a little overwhelming. We didn't know what to expect. Suddenly the building was taped up and there were a lot of cops and there was a medical crew that walked in hazmat suits. So it was all very sudden.
Hong Kong began ambush-style lockdowns in late January, targeting clusters in densely populated lower-income areas. These are the first to hit the high-rent districts, full of expats, foreign residents finding themselves on the front line of Hong Kong's latest outbreak.
Granted that we've had COVID for about a year and suddenly this comes up, we were a bit surprised, but I guess these measures need to be taken to avoid a next wave outbreak.
The hundreds of people who live in these buildings and others in the area won't be allowed to leave until all of this testing is complete. They have to stay in their homes. Health authorities say this latest super spreader event started here at this popular fitness center, raising questions about safety just weeks after Hong Kong allowed gyms to reopen.
More than 100 cases are linked to this single gym. The cluster has closed schools, offices, and forced hundreds into government quarantine centers, locked down for 14 days, including single mom Jen Berman.
And the most stressful thing is just the uncertainty, and it was the not knowing. It's getting that phone call. My main concern was my son. It was really just not knowing if he was going to have to quarantine with me, what the results were going to be, because if I turned out to be positive, it means that my son would have to quarantine and go through this process too. And obviously as a mom, it's your worst nightmare for them to have to go through something like this.
Children may have a harder time coping with quarantine, mental health experts say.
And young children in particular really thrive on safety, security, and consistency. And so when their whole world is kind of turned upside down, that can be really disruptive. And as I mentioned, it can be quite traumatic.
Hong Kong has one of the world's harshest quarantine policies, up to 3 weeks for incoming travelers, 2 weeks for anyone in close contact with the infected. The city is just beginning COVID-19 vaccinations. Most may have to wait months before they can get a shot, potentially meaning more outbreaks, more lockdowns, more damage to the already devastated local economy. Just as many hoped, life was finally getting back to normal. Will Ripley, CNN, Hong Kong.
Normal, as we now know, is a long, long way off. So keep that mask on. And thanks very much for watching.